don't have the sandbags.
You ready?
I'm born ready.
All right, round there. In 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to Moonlight Jazz on KCPR, California Public Radio. My name is Alan Palmer. It's 10:12 on a rainy Friday night. We've got jazz records to see you through to the morning light. The piece you just heard was Orrin Coleman on Blues Connotation from his album This Is Our Music. Don Cherry on pocket trumpet, Charlie Hayden on double bass, and Ed Blackwell on drums backing him up, the classic piece from 1961. Before that was 4x5 by McCoy Tyner, Joe Henderson on sax, Ron Carter on bass, and the great Elvin Jones keeping time on the drums. And we started off with a set of Crazy Piece of Crazy from the late Charles Mingus, theme from Lester Young from the great Mingus. We've got 2 minutes of business coming up. Then we're on our way to Montreux with Miles and Quincy when we play the classic Blues of Pablo right after this.
Hi, Alan, right? Dennis, the new program manager. We met last week.
Yeah, right, sorry. I'm horrible with names when I first meet someone.
Oh, not a problem. I met about 100 new people this week, so I'm having the same issue.
Are you still working? It's getting pretty late.
Yeah, I had some paperwork I wanted to finish up, but I thought I'd, stop down and have a chat with you.
I'm on the air.
Well, yeah, right.
Well, if you're gonna see the show, just let me know beforehand. I like to keep a certain vibe in my station.
Oh, totally. I understand. You've been doing this a long time. I don't want to mess with your mojo or anything. I just want to step and have a chat with you. Man, you got so many records in here. I didn't pick what to play.
I work on my playlist all day. I keep in mind, what I haven't played in a while, what my audience likes to listen to, make sure the transitions work, and then, I go on the air.
Sounds like a lot of work.
It's only work if you don't love it.
Totally. Just like exercise, right?
Yeah, sure. Listen, I'm back on the air in a minute, but if you want to talk to me, I have the Monday afternoon. Just let me know and we can schedule that.
Actually, that's what I want to talk to you about.
My Monday show?
Well, your show in general. There's some changes coming down the pike for the station. I wanted to talk with you before any rumors start going around.
Changes? What changes?
Well,
Thank you for sticking with us on a rainy Friday night. Up next, we've got Miles Davis and Quincy Jones from their Live at Montreux. A great introduction to the journey with Miles live on stage. After that, we've got some little modern Freddie Hubbard performance track from his 1971 album, First Light. Herbie Hancock, George Benson, Jack DeJohnette on that, and Ron Carter popping up on the bass. Hope you enjoy them, and we'll be back.
wow, you know all that by heart.
I've been playing these songs my whole life, and before that I was listening to them. They're in my blood and they're in my bones.
What changes?
What changes?
So, all right. As you know, the last few years have not been very good for public radio, both in terms of ratings and finances.
Yes.
The challenge of being able to find a way to stay relevant has forced the board to look at certain different options while focusing on our core values.
We're changing formats after 56 years on the air.
It's not really so much a change as it is a refocusing so we can concentrate on news and informational programming.
You've got to be kidding me. We're becoming a talk radio station? The board signed off on this and Bobby Hansen signed off on this?
It was Mr. Hansen's idea.
This doesn't make any sense. California's innumerable talk radio stations, just precious few outlets for jazz.
I assure you this is a mission-based change, not a market-driven one.
That's fantastic. I want to see Bobby as soon as possible.
Actually, he's asked me to handle the transition, so if you need to talk to him, you can talk to me.
The hell I can. You're trying to take my station away from me.
Alan, it's not that simple. Our research indicates that people like the idea of jazz a lot more than they actually like listening to it. I mean, most people can't name a single jazz musician except for Miles Davis. And you know, your encyclopedic knowledge, while laudable, can be kind of intimidating.
I'm not allowing the board of KCPR.
I am not allowing the board of KCPR to take away my playlist.
Cross left.
Our research indicates that people want music that's more mellow, less confrontational, and requires no knowledge of the players or the history. We'd like for you to transition to smooth jazz.
Smooth jazz?
Yeah, you know, like Kenny G and such. It's had really good response in our focus groups. The royalty rate is surprisingly low. Now listen, we're going to keep you on Fridays and Sundays, and Tuesday morning at 4 a.m., we got that slot open for you. That can be your freeform hour.
Oh, thank you for that.
Hey, and listen, this is all still in the planning stages right now, so don't say anything on the air. Just play your regular stuff, right?
I'm sorry, that was Miles Jones and Quincy Davis from the Live at Monroe album. I'm sorry. I just received some disturbing news that I'd like to share with you. As we all know, this has been an especially brutal time for public radio. We're being blamed for all manner of federal budgetary nonsense, and we're being hammered for being biased, liberal, intellectual, and above all, KCPR has provided us with an alternative to the screaming street corner charlatans with their unending scream of depression, recession, war, and death. From every direction, but market research triumphs over good intentions. And next week, KCPR will become a talk radio station.
No!
I've also been told that the timeless, vital jazz music that I've been playing my entire life is required or desired by the marketplace, and that I'm to begin playing smooth jazz. Now, you may wonder what I think of smooth jazz. I think smooth jazz is the music what getting a doctor's exam is to kissing a girl. I think it's utterly free of soul, heart. Its music was made to be heard in a dentist's office, elevators, and anywhere else you can get the hell out of. If you put a gun to my head and said, would you like to listen to smooth jazz or die? I'd beg you to shoot me. If I had my way, I'd round up anyone who plays and listens to smooth jazz, and I'd set them on fire while their children watched. But since I have no choice in what happens to me or my music, I'm going to abandon my normal playlist and play you the strangest, most abrasive, and unlistenable jazz I can get my hands on. Starting with side 3 of Miles Davis' Acid Jazz Trainwreck. Dark Mangus, no melody, no tune, just 45 minutes of electric acid, dark night, and soul freaking, and back after this. Oh, sorry. Wasn't supposed to say anything, right?
How could you do this? You just said that people who listen to smooth jazz should be burned alive on the air.
They don't need to be burned alive on the air, just burned alive.
Listen, you're going to have every opportunity to get your questions answered, state your opinions. The Tuesday morning show was free-form. Do you know how rare that is?
An hour and a Tuesday night? Oh, thank you for your generosity.
Listen, I know this must be hard for you. You've been doing this for what, 60 years? But times change and KCPR has to change with them.
Yeah, how, by spitting in our listeners' faces?
Read the market research. People listen to smooth jazz.
Yeah, because they're getting a root canal when it comes on.
Listen, just do this for the good of the station. Play along.
Play along.
For the good of your family.
Play along. Nobody just plays along. Miles Davis didn't just play along. John Coltrane didn't just play along. Are you kidding me? When they recorded a Love Supreme, Charles Mingus and Charles Parker, they didn't play along.
Yeah. And where are they now? They're dead. You play music performed by dead people and listened to by nobody who matters. Face it, jazz is dead. Just like poetry is dead, painting is dead, and theater is dead. The only people who care about any of this crap are a bunch of elitist intellectuals who'd all be sleeping under a bridge if they ever had to do an honest
Then I
day's
quit.
work.
Any jazz station in the country would hire me in a second.
Yeah, really. You know a lot of jazz stations that are hiring right now? You know a lot of jazz stations even exist right now? It's pay or play, Alan.
Fine.
Where are you going?
I'm gonna go home, make myself a whiskey. When I get up tomorrow, I'm gonna figure out what I want to do with the rest of my life. In the meantime, we've been on the air for the last 45 minutes. I'm sure the intellectual elitists that are still listening would be happy to go sleep under another bridge, take their advanced degrees and their disposable incomes, but they don't matter anymore, right?
Let me assure all of our loyal listeners out there that the opinions of the previous broadcaster in no way reflect the views of KCPR, its board of directors, or corporate sponsors. So, who's ready for some smooth jazz? Right?
You did it!
It's harder than it looks. I can assure you of that.
Yeah. Let me
I
tell you.
can
Really
promise
nice
you
job.
it's harder than it looks.
Yeah.
Okay, let's just take 2 minutes and share the time. Talk about what your experience was working this scene.
He gave me a lot to work with. And when I say that, when there's two people that work together, somebody, even if you're super prepared, if the other person isn't, it just makes it way more difficult. And so I felt that that really helped.
It was really funny because Dennis and I are like playing roles that are completely opposite. I mean, when I looked at this, I said the smooth jazz guy should be me. I should be in a tie-dye shirt, just mellow, laid back, and he should be standing over yelling at me, which is why our instructor chose to put us in this situation.
Yeah, I mean, it seems easy maybe for somebody who's wired that way, but for me to be like keep a certain vibe, would never.
And I get to yell at Dennis, which is cool.
Yeah.
Can you talk about, as we piece together this scene, it's not just one scene, it's a series of beats and objectives. Can you explain to us what objectives are and how they work in your scene?
For me, at the beginning of the scene, my objective was to, and I hope it was portrayed that way, to get him out of my studio. Until he starts saying, well, I want to talk about your Monday show. Now I want to keep him in, and now my objective has changed to, I want information out of him, and I'm not necessarily want him to get out of here right away. But I'm still irritated with him.
And my whole thing from the beginning is that I need to give him this information. I'm giving him his walk-in papers. Here's his orders, and we're done. I'm here late because this is when he works, but I want to just tell him what's up. This is what's what, and I'm out of here.
Yeah, because it's hard. It changes their whole character when, you know, you can do the like smart-ass thing, get out of here. But now when you're trying to get information, you got to show just a little bit of respect, but you're still irritated with the guy. What do you mean? What changes? What changes? You know.
And it was really
One of those
cool
things.
when we worked on the scene. We actually had it, and let's work this. Let's work the objective where you're trying to keep order in the studio. Now let's work the objective, the beat, where you are trying to push him out. Now let's work. So like we literally would just work beats, you know, and it would be like 30 seconds, a minute long. You just kept working those until the objective changes.
Right.
And boom, you work that next beat, and then the next one, and put them together.
Amy-
You guys rocked it.
Yeah.
Amy Lynn would stand behind us as we're working some of these scenes, and she would be our inner voice.
Yeah, she'd whisper in my ear, now you're getting a little irritated.
why is
And
he
so
doing
I would
this?
start to change my tone or, you know, but because when we first started doing this scene, if you would have saw the first one we did, it's complete, you would think it was a different, it's the exact same dialogue, but you would think it was a completely different scene,
Yeah.
two different characters.
Yep.
To what it ended up being as we changed and the blocking. This is all scripted, me with the bottle. You know, it wasn't just me randomly picking up the bottle. A couple times I didn't do it exactly like I was supposed to, but you know, it was.
Little business for you.
Yeah, it's memorizing the words is the easy part. It's where you're supposed to be and when.
Memorizing the words is the easy part. Saying them while you're up there can
Yeah.
also be a little
Yeah.
tricky. So.
Exactly.
You guys nailed it. Really, really
Yeah,
good
very
job.
good.
Thank you.
Can you do me a favor, just push the table back?
Yeah.
We're going to conclude by doing some audience participation and a celebration.